starting today in rock pose. We're on our knees and allowing our hands to fall on our thighs wherever may be most comfortable. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Drawing awareness to our breath. Noticing the muscles in our faces relax and soften. Allowing the breath to assume its natural rhythm, in through the nose and out through the nose. Noticing where the breath comes into the body, the expansion of the rib cage, and the rising and falling sensation of the chest or abdomen. Taking a moment to set an intention for today's practice, perhaps the reason that you came to the mat today. Inhaling new energy and curiosity, exhaling expectation, judgment, and competition. Coming back to the sounds of the space around us, we open our eyes and come into all fours, bringing our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. Coming into a gentle cat-cow on the inhale, starting with the tailbone, lifting our heart center through the shoulders. On the exhale, again, starting with the tailbone, rounding out all the way through the head, releasing the chin to chest. We'll do 4 more like this. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, pressing into the mat through the shoulder blades, rounding out the spine. Going to the flow of your own breath. Warming up our spine and inner core gently and slowly. Following our deep breaths, expanding the lungs and the abdomen, getting an extra stretch of the lower back and abdomen. On the next one, we continue our cat-cow in a natural rhythm. On the inhale, lifting our hearts. On the exhale, curling the toes under the shins and lifting up into bear. Inhale, setting back down. Flowing through, adding a gentle lift of the knees off the mat, 1 inch or higher. Of course, option to keep the knees planted on the mat. If you're lifting into the bear pose, we're engaging the abdomen to lift the knees off the mat. We'll do 1 more. Good. Inhale, back into our cow. Exhale, pressing up into down dog, lifting the sit bones and the tailbone, walking the feet back to a comfortable position, and starting to pedal out the back of the legs, 1 knee at a time, pressing through the hands, finding our grounding in our hands, pressing into the mat, and allowing the heads to hang heavy. And the neck is long, releasing any tension there may be. One more breath. We're going to float our way into a plank. So let's find our plank position, ensuring once again that the hands are underneath the shoulders. And we're up on the balls of the feet. Once you find your stable plank with the torso parallel to the floor, we'll flow up through our plank and back into down dog, pressing the heels towards the mat. Pressing up onto the balls of the feet, rounding out into plank. And we'll do 3 more like this. Rounding, finding a flow that suits your body today. Going to the speed of our breath. Good. Pressing back towards the mat with our heels. Readjusting as needed. Lifting the left leg off the ground at 90 degrees. We're going to make some hip circles. Moving into the hip joint gently. Exploring the sensations in the hip. We'll do 5 in each direction. As little or as big as your body permits today, going to your speed and your ability. Good. Bringing the left foot back down. And we'll do the same thing with the right foot. Bending at the knee, lifting the leg off the mat, circling around in one direction. Finish your 5 and go the other direction. Noticing what's happening in our neck and our jaw. Bringing the right foot back down. Once again, lifting the left foot off the ground, straightening the leg, making circles with a straight leg. And listening to your body, the sensations, to not push too far. Switching directions here. Great. Bring the left foot back down to the mat. We'll do the same thing with the right foot. Straightening the leg, circling around. The goal is 5. We do what we can, and then we switch directions. Good stuff. All right, one more thing on our hands. Last plank set. Once again, lifting our left leg off the ground, coming into our plank, and bringing our left knee to our left elbow. Extend all the way back behind us. Bring the left foot down. We'll do the same thing with the right foot. Lift, come into our plank, lift, and lower. Back to the other side. You know the drill now. Find a rhythm that suits you. Pressing the heel back into the mat as best you can. Opening up the back body. Moving to the flow and the rhythm of our breath. Alternating sides. The goal is to do one more on each leg. Of course, you can always hold a down dog or come into child's pose as and when needed. Good job. Well done. Lifting the left leg off the mat, stepping all the way through into a low lunge here. Wiggling the foot as needed to gain stability. Balancing our upper bodies over both legs. We're lowering down onto our right knee, grabbing a cushion underneath as needed, or rolling up the mat. Bringing our hands here onto the left thigh. Gently pressing forward and back, rocking, catching our breath. Gentle rock to slowly open up the hip flexor, running down the right thigh muscle. Perhaps you're feeling this in the left glute and hamstring. We're gentle to start, warming ourselves up for our flow today. Good. Let's start going a little bit deeper, floating forward and back, perhaps even lifting the front foot off the mat, extending the left leg, working through the hamstring. Of course, if you have blocks and you'd like extra stability, you're welcome to grab onto them. Good, we'll do one more float and then hold this hamstring stretch back, sinking as deeply as you'd like onto your right foot. Adding an additional toes pose of the right foot. Hinging at the hips, maintaining an erect spine, tall upper bodies. Good. Inhale, rising back up and floating through into the lunge, allowing ourselves to come forward, opening up the hip flexor, stabilizing with our hands as needed, or of course, option to bring our hands to our thigh. One more breath here. Good. Bringing our hands back down to the mat. We'll press ourselves back into down dog. Do the same flow with the opposite leg. And let's pedal out in between, rinsing what we've just done on our left leg. Feeling it in the balls of my right foot. Stretch it out. Maybe even a little wiggle of the ankle here. Great. And let's go ahead and lift the right leg off the mat, gazing forward, coming up on the left toes and stepping through into our low lunge. This time with the right foot forward or your opposite. Bringing our hands to our thighs or onto blocks. And once again, we'll just start to rock forward and back gently. And as we warm into it, we are welcome to sink down a little bit deeper. Start rocking back, lifting the front toes, and extending the right leg. Once again, listening to our bodies and what the sensations are telling us. We'll do one more flow through and then we'll hold our hamstring stretch here. Once again, coming back as deeply as you'd like onto the left foot. Hinging over top of the right leg, finding our grounding and stability as needed with our hands. Flexing our right foot. Good. On the next inhale, we press ourselves back into our lunge, opening up the left hip flexor. Maintaining a tall upper body. One more breath. And once again, bringing ourselves back down to the mat with our hands. Pressing back into down dog, rinsing out what we've just done. Good, shifting our hips left to right, working into the ankles laterally. And coming up on the toes, we're going to walk our feet in towards our hands so that we're at the top of our mats, grabbing a sip of water here as needed. Keeping our knees bent. We'll swoop our arms all the way up to standing on the inhale. Exhale, hands come to heart. Catching a breath in between. We'll do a couple of vinyasas. Inhale, swooping the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to thighs, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swoop all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's repeat this 2 more times, going to your rhythm. Bending the knees as needed in order to maintain a flat back. Let's run through that one more time, this time holding the forward fold, pedaling out the knees. Grabbing the inside of our elbows, optional. Possibly just bending the knees left to right, shifting our weight. Finding our feet firmly planted underneath the hips for stability. Listening to what's happening in our lower backs. And ensuring that our necks are hanging long. And our heads are mobile. We can move our head left to right, up and down, no problem. Good. We have 3 flows to work through today. First off, we're coming back up to standing, and with a 90-degree leg, we'll step back into our lunge. So let's find our way back to stillness with our knees bent as needed. The next inhale, we swoop our arms up, coming to standing. And exhale, bringing our hands to heart center. Adjusting our hands onto our hips. And we'll start with the left foot at 90 degrees, bringing the left leg up, flexing the foot. And we'll step all the way through into our low lunge. Inhale, lifting the arms up. Exhale, come to standing, hinging into pyramid. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, come all the way back to standing, 90-degree leg. Come back down. Switching legs. So this is our flow for the first round. Bringing our legs off the ground to 90 degrees. Stepping back into our low lunge, lifting the arms as possible. Bringing ourselves into pyramid or power lunge. Back down to our low lunge. Come back up to standing, 90 degrees. Flexing the foot. Good stuff. Let's repeat 2 more times on each leg. Good. Finding our stability, resetting, switching legs. Job. 1 more on each leg. Noticing our breath. Perhaps we've already started our Ujjayi breath. Bringing awareness to the parasympathetic nervous system and inner balance. Connecting our movements with our breath. Creating headspace and stability as we go. Well done. Option to flow through a vinyasa here. And we reset. Back to our left leg once again. Bringing the leg to 90 degrees and extending the leg. Swinging the leg through and coming into our lunge. Same motion this time, but with a straightened leg. Follow through. Straighten the leg. Bring it back 90 degrees. Switch legs. 90 degrees, extend, swing through to our lunge, lowering down. Inhale, rising up. Power lunge as you desire. Lunge, straighten, and bring the straight leg through 90 degrees. 2 more times on each side. Allowing the hands to float as seems most comfortable. Good. Of course, we can keep our hands on our hips. Allow them to float forward, up, or back. Great. Challenging our ability to maintain focus in this moment. Last time on the right leg. Good option here to run through a vinyasa. We reset. We'll go through 3 times, straightening the leg this time and circling it all the way around into our lunge. So resetting with the left leg to start, coming into 90 degrees, straightening the leg, circling out, stepping into our lunge and flowing through as we were doing before. Circling back around, resetting, 90 degrees, bring the leg down. We switch over to the right leg. Extend, circle out, planting the back foot, 90-degree lunge, power lunge option. Good job. Great focus and concentration. Reset. We switch sides, taking our time. Again, going to the flow of our breath. If this motion isn't working for you, pick one of the previous ones. Over to our right side. One more time on each leg, option. Option, of course, to float through one of the prior motions. Option to vinyasa between. Well done. Coming back into something a little bit more familiar. We'll step into Crescent Lunge. So finding ourselves a little bit farther up on the mat. Stepping back with our left leg into Crescent Lunge. Good. Hands on our hips, around our core, or stacked over top of our shoulders. And let's just do a rising and lowering pulse of a lunge. Again, with the motion of our breath. Inhale, we rise up, reaching for the sky. Exhale, we lower. Finding dynamic tension through both of our legs. Drawing our thighs together, pressing through the left quadricep, lifting the left knee. We'll do 3 more. Holding here, pivoting the back foot to a 45-degree angle, bringing our arms down, warrior 2. Feeling the thighs and the hips of the right side, pressing through, engaging the glute. Gazing over our front hand. Arms are parallel to the floor. Rotating our front palm upwards, we come into a reverse warrior, allowing the left hand to float down the back leg. Breathing into the side body. Good. One more breath here. And on the next inhale, we float forward, bringing our forearm onto our thigh muscle. Left arm comes over the body, behind the body, or over the head, parallel to the floor. Choosing an option that works for us today. Breathing through it. Good. On the next inhale, we rise up back into reverse warrior, but straightening the leg muscle this time. So here we go. Inhale, reverse warrior. Holding here. On the next exhale, we float forward once again. Triangle pose. Finding our positioning and our stability. And then we'll start floating through any four of these motions. Inhale, we come back to reverse warrior, possibly lunging the front leg. Exhale, floating into extended side angle. Inhale, we rise back up, possibly straightening the leg. Exhale, triangle. Flowing through to your breath, your ability today, finding a flow that works for you. Working the side body, maintaining a steady rhythm of breath. We'll do one more flow. Well done, holding here in triangle pose. Once again, reaching tall, tucking the pelvis underneath us, engaging the left glute. Option to bring the hand behind the back or over top of the head. Allowing the right hand to fall where it will. We're staying in the left side body, building strength. 2 more breaths. Good. Bending our right front leg, pivoting back into Crescent Lunge. Inhale, we rise up. Exhale, stepping all the way through Vinyasa, in between option. Option to hold mountain pose. Well done, yogis. Grab a sip of water if you like in between sides. We'll do the same flow on the right. Good. Over to the right side. We'll step back into Crescent Lunge. Inhale, lifting the arms all the way up, or bringing the hands to our hips or around our core. On the inhale, we rise up, straightening the front leg. On the exhale, we come back into our lunge. Slowing the arms is also an option. Driving through the left foot and the balls of the right foot. Keeping our tall upper bodies, elongated spine. Finding somewhere to gaze at on the wall. Maintaining dynamic tension in the right leg. Noticing what's happening with the quadricep. Is it lifting the right knee as you press up? 2 more. Holding here. Pivoting the back foot 45 degrees, coming into warrior 2. Checking our stability. Our upper body is centered over both legs. We have dynamic tension running between the legs, finding grounding in both feet. Noticing the rhythm of our heart and our breath. Good. Rotating our left hand, palm is facing up, into reverse warrior. Allowing the right hand to fall where it will naturally along the back of the right leg. One more breath. On the next exhale, we come into our extended side angle. Again, engaging the right glute, we're pressing the pelvis forward. Arm can be stacked over top of our head or over top of our body. Good. On the inhale, we rise back up, reverse warrior, straightening the left leg. Holding here for a count of 5 breaths. Good. On the next exhale, we come into our triangle pose. Once again, finding a position for the upper arm and allowing the left arm to fall naturally where it will. No expectation here. We fit the poses to our bodies. Good. And we'll start our flow. On the inhale, we lunge and come into our reverse warrior. On the exhale, we come back into side angle. Straightening the leg on the inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale into triangle. Coming through this flow, motions suit you best. Maintaining a steady rhythm of breath. One more flow, and then we'll all meet in triangle pose. Once again, ensuring that our pelvis is reaching through, engaging the right glute, reaching our right hand up over our bodies, behind or over the head. Can we maintain presence in this moment? Are we in our side body? What's happening with our breath? The muscles on our faces and our jaws. Great. 2 more breaths. And we bend our left knee, bringing our right hand back down to the mat. This time we come into a wide angle pose, pressing the legs forward. The feet are forward facing, and we can come up on our fingertips. Flat hands. We can rock forward and back, or wiggle the legs. Listening to our bodies. Option here to grab onto our big toes. Using them as leverage to hinge forward at the hips. Noticing what's happening in our lower backs. The goal is an erect spine, elongating the spine, not rounding it out. Let's press ourselves over to our left foot, drawing the forehead towards the knee, or some variation. Perhaps you'd rather press into it and press your upper body nice and long, listening to what's happening in the back of our leg. Good. Let's go ahead and walk the hands over to the right side, doing whatever works for that side. Perhaps it's a little bit different. Check what's happening with our body and our sensations. It will tell you. We just have to listen. Two more breaths. Good. We walk the hands all the way over to the left. And we're slowly going to lower our feet all the way down, stacking ourselves into fire log. Voila. Good job, yogis. Tucking our legs on top of one another. Option to stack the knees. Option to find a different, comfortable, easy seated position. Again, listening to our bodies. I'm feeling a little extra stretched out now after all of those flows. Tall upper bodies, and we hinge forward at the hips, extending our hands for support on the fingertips or flat. And you're welcome to move around here, listening and checking out what's happening in the hips. Lowering down as and when you feel comfortable. Pressing ourselves up with both hands, lifting the left arm, walking the right hand over to the side. Come into a side bend. Keeping the sit bones on the mat, so you may want to press back up with the right arm, supporting so we don't collapse into our right side body, but rather elongate the spine, breathing in, creating space between the ribs on the left. Good. Pressing out of that on the next inhale. Perfect. Pressing now into the mat with the sides of our feet. We're going to rotate ourselves back through our wide-legged stance and over to the other side so that our opposite leg is stacked in our fire log. So pressing up, coming into our wide angle stance, pivoting all the way back over. Magic. We sink down. Good stuff. Stacking our knees on top of one another once again and hinging at the hips, planting our hands or our fingertips, lowering our upper bodies gently, possibly wishing to rock through, gently easing into the pose. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up, bringing our right arm over top of the shoulder, walking the left hand out to the side and side bending here, elongating through the spine, reaching long, breathing into the right side body. Releasing some of the energy that we've been generating in our sequence of lunge flows. Inhale, pressing out of that. Once again, we'll press into the sides, the outsides of our feet, coming back into a wide angle stretch one last time. So walking ourselves around to the right, pivoting our feet forward facing. And we'll wiggle that out. Lovely. Allowing our heads to hang long one last time. Possibly floating our hands above our backs, interlacing, rolling the shoulders forward. And hanging out here, enjoying the stretch of the back body as well as the chest and shoulders. Good. On the next inhale, we'll pivot ourselves back to the front where we all started today, stepping our right foot in. One last vinyasa. Inhale, swooping all the way up to standing. Exhale, bringing our hands to heart center. Inhale, swooping up. Exhale, forward fold. Being gentle on our knees and our hamstrings. Inhale, halfway flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart into our chair pose. We'll hold here. Noticing our toes, trying to gain vision of our toes beyond our knees, possibly drawing the shins back, curling in with the abdomen, and at the same time feeling a sense of drawing the spine through. Tall upper bodies, pressing our palms together. One more breath. Wiggling the feet a little bit wider, we lower into Malasana Squat, pressing our forearms and our elbows into the thighs. Taking a moment here, wiggling through before we lower down onto our backs. Last chance as well to get a sip of water. Drawing our bodies tall and long, elongating the spine from the tailbone through to the crown of the head, pressing the palms together. One more breath. We'll slowly lower all the way down onto our butts, into our staff pose, grabbing our sip of water as needed. Extending the legs long on the mat, flexing the feet, getting our sit bones adjusted underneath us. Forward folding here, hinging at the hips. Extending the hands beyond the feet, pulsing, lowering our heads to our chins, lowering our chins to our chest. On the inhale, we'll stack the vertebrae one at a time, shoulders, neck, and head. Wiggle out the ankles and the feet, both directions. Tucking our left leg in a seated tree pose. Pivoting our bodies, facing the bent leg, and reaching our left arm over top, allowing our right arm to lower down to the mat or onto our thigh or shin. Option here to support our head with our lower hand. Option to bring the upper hand over top of the left. Lifting the left shoulder blade, trying to open up the heart center. Lifting the chest to the sky, keeping our right foot flexed. Extending the arm above the body. On the exhales, we'll slowly lower down, rounding ourselves out. Deep breaths in to fill the lungs. Exhale, re-round. Inch by inch. Noticing what's happening in the lower back. Allowing the head to hang heavy between our arms. On the inhale, we'll press ourselves back up to center. Bring the right leg behind us, double forward, deer pose. This time hinging over the front leg, possibly supporting with our hands, our fingertips lowering onto our forearms, even stacking, listening to our body and doing what works for us today on this side. Good. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves all the way back up. We're going to switch our legs. So the right leg gets tucked in. The left leg is extended. Foot is flexed. We pivot so that our right arm comes up over our bodies and the left arm reaches long along the extended left leg, falling where it will, supporting as needed with our arms. Lifting the chest, opening up the right shoulder blade. Fitting the pose to your body. Noticing the breath. Good. Extending the right arm. And on each exhale, we slowly lower and round forward. Deep breath in, expanding the rib cage. Exhale, we round out inch by inch. Once back to center, we bring our hands in front of us, pressing ourselves up. And we'll bring the left leg behind into double four, deer pose. Hinging over the front leg. Once again, finding our hands on the mat as needed for support. Elongating the spine, trying not to round out at the lower back. Stacking our hands, our forearms, or our fists or hands. Noticing when the leg muscles start to release, releasing all the energy that we've generated today. Two more breaths in this position. And we'll slowly press ourselves back up, stacking our vertebrae, bringing both legs in front of us, staff pose, wiggling them out. And then we'll lower down gently into supine. Good. Gently lowering down one vertebrae at a time, reaching our arms all the way beyond our head. We'll do a set of hollow holds as our last dynamic move. On the exhale, we lift our feet and hands off the mat about a foot. So we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. On the exhale, we lift ourselves up. Inhale, lowering down. Exhale, lifting up, keeping our arms along the sides of our ears. Inhale. Exhale up. The heels are touching. We go through this as many times as we feel capable. Pushing through. Building our core stability and strength. Holding through the exhalation. 3 more. Oh yes, activating the Ujjayi breath. 2 more. Last one, make it count. Well done. Bring our hands all the way back down our sides, drawing our feet in, hip width apart. And we'll eagle the legs. So this time crossing one knee over the other, drawing the knees in towards the chest. Option to grab onto the feet. Option to hug around. Hugging in as close to the body as you can. Of course, option to hug at the ankles. Crossing at the ankles, hugging on top of the knees or behind the thighs. Play around, see what works for you today. Keeping our shoulder blades on the mat. Good. And rotating into a twist, so bringing the left foot towards the mat. The right leg will fall naturally. Option to butterfly the top leg. Option to find a different twist. Possibly even keeping the legs in eagle and twisting, gazing over the left arm. Using the right hand as leverage on the left knee. And the inhale will come back to center. Switching the leg position, either the ankles or the knees, even thread the needle. And then let's crunch in, giving ourselves a little hug. Finding a hand placement that works for you. Possibly different on this side. Good, and go ahead and rotate over to the left side, possibly keeping eagle legs, finding another twist that works for you today. Noticing the contact of the shoulder blades on the mat beneath us, and gazing over to the right. On the inhale, we come back to center. Undo the legs, hug them in naturally, keeping them narrow or wide. Happy baby as an option. Let's go ahead and stack the feet over top of the hips, flexing the feet. Pressing the knees back towards the wall. Adding some lymphatic drainage, wiggling out the feet. And just assisting our circulatory systems while we're here. You are welcome to transition into any final movements before we come into our final resting place and our resting pose in Shavasana. And once you're ready, go ahead and extend the legs long along the mat, allowing the palms to float open, facing the sky. Drawing in fresh energy and exhaling any residual tension that we may not have moved through in our practice. Reflecting on any intention we may have set at the beginning of class. And perhaps we want to close with an affirmation today, finding a word that resonates with us and repeating it in our mind in an I am statement or I have statement. And with smiles on our faces, we give thanks for the opportunity to practice. We give thanks for this beautiful community. And perhaps there's something you want to be grateful for, something somebody may have said or done for you in the past day or two. Just bring that back to our hearts, fill our minds with compassion and gratitude to take with us in the coming moments and days. Thank you all for joining. I wish you a good continuation. Namaste. Bringing ourselves back to the sounds around us, rolling up gently, and transitioning back to your reality.